The receipt was still warm in my pocket when Raya delivered the final blow. "Everyone, raise your glasses to my amazing boyfriend Darren. He's paying for everything tonight because he knows how lucky he is to have me." 23 people. 23 goddamn people at Rosario's, the trendiest, overpriced Italian joint downtown, all lifting their champagne flutes while I sat there with my Budweiser, watching my bank account die in real time. The bill was going to be north of $800. I knew it. She knew it. Hell, the waiter Jules knew it. He'd been giving me those sympathetic looks all night, the kind you give a man walking to the electric chair. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Darren Mitchell. I'm 27. I work as a junior accountant at Henderson & Associates, and up until tonight, I thought I was dating the most beautiful woman in Boston. Raya Summers, 25, aspiring model, Instagram influencer with 40,000 followers, and apparently a complete sociopath. "Isn't he just the sweetest?" Raya continued, her perfectly manicured hand resting on my shoulder like a beautiful vulture. "I mean, look at him in that adorable tie from Target." Laughter rippled through the table. Not good-natured laughter, the cruel kind, the kind that cuts. Zoe, Raya's best friend and chief enabler, leaned forward with her surgically enhanced smile. "Oh my God, Raya, you're so lucky. Most guys would never be this generous on an accountant's salary." More laughter. Misha, another member of Raya's glam squad, whispered something to Tasha that made them both giggle. I caught the words cheap and desperate. Ladies, Raya said, raising her hand like some kind of queen. "Be nice. Darren works very hard at his little job. Don't you, baby?" I forced a smile. "Sure do, sweetheart." Inside, something was dying. Not just my dignity, though that was definitely flatlined, but something deeper. The part of me that believed people were basically good. The part that thought love meant something. Alex Rodriguez, my best friend since college, and the only real person at this table, caught my eye from across the room. He'd been smart enough to decline the invitation, but he was here anyway, nursing a beer at the bar and watching this train wreck unfold. He mouthed the words, "You okay?" and I gave him the slightest shake of my head. The worst part wasn't even the money. It was the way Raya's eyes lit up when she humiliated me. Like she fed on it. Like my embarrassment was her drug of choice. "So, birthday girl?" said Marcus, some trust fund photographer Raya was always flirting with. "What's next? VIP at that new club downtown?" "Oh, absolutely." Raya clapped her hands together. "Darren's treating us to bottle service, aren't you, honey?" The table erupted in cheers. My phone buzzed with a low-balance alert from my bank. "Actually," I said, my voice surprisingly steady, "I think I'm going to call it a night after dinner." The temperature at the table dropped 10 degrees. "What?" Raya's smile faltered for just a second before snapping back into place. "But it's my birthday." "And it's been wonderful," I said, pulling out my phone. "I'm just going to take care of the bill and head home. You kids have fun." I stood up and walked to the front, where Mr. Felix, the restaurant manager, was waiting with the damage. $847.36, plus tip. "Rough night?" Felix asked quietly. He was a good guy, probably in his 50s, with kind eyes, and the look of someone who'd seen this exact scenario play out before. "You could say that." I handed him my credit card, praying it wouldn't get declined. While we waited for the transaction, I did something I'd never done before. I took out my phone and started taking pictures. The receipt. The itemized list showing exactly who ordered what. The champagne bottles with their ridiculous markup. Raya's signature on the birthday cake order she'd placed without asking me. "Everything okay, sir?" Felix asked. "Perfect," I said. "Just documenting the best birthday party I've ever paid for." The card went through. Barely. I added a 20% tip because Jules had been decent to me all night, and because the staff wasn't responsible for my girlfriend being a monster. I walked back to the table, where Raya was already standing, her designer purse slung over her shoulder. "Ready, baby?" she asked, as if nothing had happened. "Actually, I'm heading home. You have fun with your friends." Her face went through about 5 different expressions in 2 seconds. Confusion, anger, embarrassment, and finally, rage. "Are you seriously going to ruin my birthday over money?" "I'm not ruining anything. The bill's paid. You're free to go celebrate however you want." "With what money?" she hissed, low enough that only I could hear. "That's not my problem anymore." I kissed her cheek, for appearances, and walked out of Rosario's into the cool October night. Alex was right behind me. "Dude, what the hell was that?" "That," I said, "was me paying for the most expensive education of my life." "You okay?" I looked back through the restaurant window. Raya was at the table, frantically whispering to her friends, probably trying to figure out how to get to the club without my credit card. Her face was red, her perfect composure cracking. "You know what, Alex? I think I'm better than okay." My phone started buzzing, text after text from Raya. "Where did you go? This isn't funny. Get back here right now. You're embarrassing me. I can't believe you're being this selfish." I turned off my phone and walked home through the city streets, my footsteps echoing off the buildings. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. I had no idea that by morning, everything would change. I woke up to 139 missed calls. Seriously, 139. My phone had died sometime around 3 a.m., and when I plugged it in and turned it back on, it went absolutely insane. Buzzing, chiming, vibrating across my nightstand like it was having a seizure. Raya, 47 missed calls, unknown numbers, 92 missed calls, text messages, 200 plus Instagram notifications, 500 plus email, 73 new messages. What the hell? I made coffee first, priorities. Then I sat down at my kitchen table and started scrolling through the carnage. It started with the Instagram post. Raya had posted it around midnight, 3 hours after I'd left the restaurant. "Best birthday ever. So blessed to have friends who know how to celebrate. Birthday queen, ciao blessed living my best life." The photo was her and the glam squad at some club bottle service table loaded with expensive liquor. She looked perfect, as always, radiant, happy. But then I read the comments. "Girl, didn't your boyfriend ditch you at dinner? Wait, who paid for all this? Raya, your Venmo request is still pending from last week. Oh, she really posted this after her man left her at the restaurant." And then, buried about 50 comments down, someone had posted a screenshot. My screenshot. The receipt from Rosario's, with a caption I definitely didn't write. "When your girlfriend invites 20 plus people to dinner and expects you to pay, then acts like you're the problem. Never again. Receipts and receipts." I stared at my phone. I hadn't posted this. I'd taken the photos, sure, but I hadn't shared them anywhere. My phone rang. "Alex. Dude, please tell me you didn't actually post that receipt." "I didn't. I took the pictures, but I never..." Well, someone did. And it's everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. There's already a hashtag. Receipts and receipts is trending. I opened Twitter. Holy shit. The screenshot had been retweeted 8,000 times. The comments were brutal. "This is why you don't date gold diggers. $847 for someone else's birthday party? This man is a saint. Raya Summers really thought she did something Mau. The audacity of this woman." But mixed in with the support were people defending Raya. "Y'all don't know the whole story. Maybe he's just cheap. This is financial abuse." My phone buzzed with another call. Raya. "Darren, what the hell did you do?" "I didn't..." "Don't lie to me. The receipt is everywhere. Everyone's calling me a gold digger. My manager is freaking out." "Raya, I swear I didn't post that." "Then how..." She stopped. I could hear voices in the background. Oh my God, Jules posted it. That little shit waiter posted it. She hung up. I called the restaurant. Felix answered. Rosario's, this is... Mr. Felix, it's Darren Mitchell. From last night? Oh, Mr. Mitchell, I was wondering if you'd call. Did one of your staff post that receipt online? Long pause. Jules doesn't work here anymore. What happened? Well, after you left, your girlfriend and her friends stayed for another hour, ordered more drinks. When it came time to pay, he sighed. Let's just say Jules took it personally when they tried to leave without settling their tab. They didn't pay? Oh, they paid eventually, but not before making quite a scene. Jules may have documented the evening for posterity. I almost laughed. Almost. Is he in trouble? Son, that boy's got 3 job offers already this morning. Turns out people appreciate honesty in the service industry. After I hung up, I made a decision that would change everything. I opened my laptop and created a Twitter account. Receipts and receipts. My first tweet. Since everyone's talking about it anyway, here's what really happened last night. Thread 115. I laid it all out. The surprise party I wasn't consulted about. The public humiliation. The expectation that I'd pay for everything and then fund their club night. The way Raya's friends had mocked my job, my clothes, my desperation. But I was smart about it. No name-calling, no insults, just facts. Screenshots of Raya's texts demanding I come back and pay for the club. Photos of the receipts. A breakdown of how much money I'd spent on her over the past 6 months. The thread went viral in 2 hours. By noon, Yours Receipts and Receipts had 50,000 tweets. Local news stations were picking it up. Someone had created a TikTok with the story that had 200,000 views. And Raya? Raya was hemorrhaging followers. I watched her Instagram count drop in real time. 40,000 became 38,000, then 35,000, then 30,000. My phone rang again. This time, it was a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Mitchell, this is Jennifer Dawson from Kramer, Dawson and Associates. We represent Ms. Summers. Okay? My client is prepared to offer you $5,000 to remove all social media posts and sign a non-disclosure agreement. I laughed. Actually laughed. Tell your client I said no. Mr. Mitchell, I should warn you that we're prepared to pursue legal action for defamation and harassment. With what evidence? Everything I posted is true. I have receipts. Literally. This is your final offer. Then I guess we're done here. She hung up. I immediately tweeted about the phone call. That tweet got 15,000 retweets in an hour. By evening, Raya had lost half her followers. 3 brands had dropped her sponsorship deals. Someone had created a GoFundMe to help Darren recover from financial abuse that had raised $2,000. But the best part, the absolute best part, came at 9 p.m. A knock at my door. I opened it to find Zoe, Misha, and Tasha, Raya's glam squad, looking significantly less glamorous than they had the night before. We need to talk, Zoe said. I let them in. They sat on my couch like they were at a funeral. Look, Zoe started, we're sorry about last night. We didn't know it would blow up like this. Didn't know what would blow up? Making fun of me? Expecting me to pay for everything, or just getting caught? Misha spoke up. Raya's been telling everyone you're abusive, that you control her money and isolate her from friends. That's interesting, considering I just paid for all her friends to have dinner. We know, Tasha said quietly. That's why we're here. We have some things you should know about Raya. They told me everything. The married businessman she'd been seeing on the side, the credit cards she'd maxed out and abandoned, the way she talked about me when I wasn't around, my little ATM. So pathetic. He'll do anything if I sleep with him. But the worst part was what Zoe told me at the end. She's planning to say you hit her. Tomorrow. She's going to post photos with makeup bruises and claim you've been abusing her for months. I stared at them. Why are you telling me this? Because, Zoe said, we're tired of being her accessories, And because what she's planning to do to you, it's not okay. After they left, I sat in my apartment and thought about everything that had happened in the past 24 hours. Yesterday morning, I'd been a pushover with a beautiful girlfriend and a miserable life. Tonight, I was something else entirely. I opened my laptop and started typing. The next morning, I beat Raya to the punch. At 6 a.m., exactly 12 hours before she planned to post her fake abuse story, I published a blog post titled "The Truth About Emotional Manipulation" on Medium. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about survival. I laid out everything Zoe had told me: the cheating, the financial manipulation, the way Raya had been systematically isolating me from friends and family while bleeding me dry. But most importantly, I included audio. See, the thing about being an accountant is that you learn to document everything. And the thing about dating someone who thinks you're stupid is that they say a lot of incriminating things when they think you're not paying attention. I'd been recording our fights for months, not because I planned to use them, but because I'd started to doubt my own memory. Raya had a way of twisting conversations, making me feel crazy, making me question what had actually been said. The recordings were damning. Raya, 3 weeks ago. God, you're so pathetic. Do you know how many guys would eliminate to be with me? I'm doing charity work here. Raya, 2 months ago. Your friends are losers, Darren. Alex is a creep, and Sarah from your work is obviously in love with you. It's embarrassing. If you cared about me, you'd stop hanging out with them. Raya, last month. I need $2,000 for rent. What do you mean you don't have it? What's the point of having a boyfriend if he can't take care of me? But the most damaging recording was from 2 weeks ago, when she was on the phone with someone she thought was her friend. He's so easy to manipulate, it's actually sad. I just have to cry a little and he gives me whatever I want. I'm thinking of upgrading soon, though. There's this guy Marcus, who's actually successful. The blog post got 100,000 views in the first hour. By 10 a.m., I was getting calls from reporters. By noon, Danshri emotional abuse was trending alongside your receipts and receipts. By 2 p.m., Raya's Instagram account was gone. Not deactivated. Gone. Instagram had removed it for violating community guidelines after thousands of people reported it for harassment and fraud. That's when she showed up at my office. I was in the middle of a client call when Sarah, our receptionist, knocked on my door. Darren, there's a woman here to see you. She says she's your girlfriend, but she seems upset. I could hear Raya screaming from the lobby. Where is he? I know he's here. Darren, get out here right now. My boss, Mr. Henderson, appeared in my doorway. Mitchell, what's going on? Personal situation, sir. I'll handle it. Make it quick and quiet. I walked to the lobby to find Raya pacing like a caged animal. Her perfect makeup was streaked with tears, her designer outfit wrinkled. She looked unhinged. You destroyed my life, she screamed the moment she saw me. 5 years of building my brand, and you ruined it in 2 days. Raya, you need to leave. This is my workplace. I don't care. You posted private conversations. That's illegal. No, it's not. Massachusetts is a one-party consent state. I can record any conversation I'm part of. She slapped me. Hard. Right there in front of my co-workers, clients, and boss. The lobby went silent. Feel better? I asked, my cheek stinging. I'm going to destroy you, she hissed. I'm going to tell everyone you raped me. I'm going to say you threatened to eliminate me. You're going to do nothing, I said calmly. Because this entire conversation is being recorded by the security cameras, and you just committed assault in front of 12 witnesses. She looked around the lobby, suddenly realizing where she was. Ma'am, Sarah said from behind the reception desk, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, or I'll call security. Raya left, but not before promising to end me. That afternoon, I filed a restraining order. I also hired a lawyer, Jennifer Chen from Chen & Associates, who specialized in harassment cases. The GoFundMe had grown to $15,000, more than enough to cover legal fees. But the real game changer came that evening, when Zoe called me. Darren, you need to know something. Raya's planning something big. She's meeting with Marcus tomorrow night. They're going to say you've been stalking her, that you threatened them both. Do you have proof? Better. I have their text messages. It turned out Zoe had been keeping screenshots of everything for months. Every cruel comment about me, every plan to use me, every lie Raya had told. She'd been waiting for the right moment to use them. Why? I asked. Why help me? Because I've been where you are, she said quietly. Raya did the same thing to my last boyfriend. Isolated him, used him, then destroyed him when he tried to leave. I watched her do it, and I did nothing. I'm not doing nothing this time. She sent me everything. Hundreds of screenshots. Text messages between Raya and Marcus planning to frame me. Messages between Raya and her other friends mocking my appearance, my job, my desperation. Plans to max out my credit cards and disappear. But the most damaging evidence was a voice message Raya had sent to Marcus. I'm going to say he hit me. Maybe that he threatened to eliminate me. I'll do the whole crying victim thing, and everyone will feel sorry for me. Then we can be together, and I'll have enough sympathy followers to rebuild my brand. I published everything that night. Every screenshot, every voice message, every piece of evidence that showed the real Raya Summers. The response was immediate and devastating. Marcus, the trust fund photographer, posted a public apology and announced he was stepping back from social media to focus on personal growth. Translation: his family's law firm had told him to shut up and disappear. Raya's remaining friends abandoned her. Her modeling agency dropped her. The apartment she'd been living in, which I now learned was paid for by 3 different men who each thought they were her only benefactor, evicted her for non-payment. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Because while I'd been learning the truth about Raya, I'd also been learning something about myself. I wasn't the weak, pathetic man she'd made me believe I was. I was methodical. I was patient. And I was very, very good at finding things people wanted to keep hidden. It was time to take this to the next level. 3 days later, Raya made her biggest mistake yet. She tried to get me fired. I found out about it from Henderson himself, who called me into his office Friday morning with a grim expression. Mitchell, sit down. We need to talk. I sat, my stomach dropping. I got a very interesting phone call yesterday. A woman claiming to be your ex-girlfriend, saying you've been embezzling money from client accounts to fund some kind of harassment campaign against her. Sir, that's completely... He held up his hand. Let me finish. She also claimed you've been using company computers to hack her social media accounts and post private information. I stared at him. Mr. Henderson, I can prove every single thing I've posted came from legitimate sources. I have documentation for... Darren, he said, and his tone was different now, almost amused. I said she called. I didn't say I believed her. Sir? Son, I've been in business for 30 years. I know the difference between a whistleblower and a vindictive ex. Plus, I read your blog post. That woman is a piece of work. Relief flooded through me. However, Henderson continued, this situation is affecting your work environment. Half my staff spent yesterday reading about your personal life instead of doing their jobs, so I'm giving you 2 weeks paid leave to sort this out. I understand, sir. And Darren, off the record? Give her hell. That afternoon, I met with Jennifer Chen to discuss strategy. She was a sharp woman in her 40s, with the kind of confidence that came from winning cases people said were unwinnable. Your ex-girlfriend has made several actionable mistakes, she said, reviewing the evidence. The false accusations to your employer constitute defamation. The threats of false rape allegations could be considered criminal intimidation. And if we can prove she's been defrauding multiple men financially, what are you thinking? I'm thinking we go on the offensive, file a civil suit for defamation, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Make this expensive for her. She doesn't have money. Jennifer smiled. She will when Marcus's family settles to keep their son's name out of the papers. That evening, Alex came over with beer and takeout. We sat in my living room, scrolling through the latest developments in what the internet had dubbed Receiptgate. "Dude, you've become like a folk hero," he said, showing me his phone. "Look at this." It was a TikTok compilation of women sharing their own receipt stories, times they'd been financially manipulated by partners, friends, or family. The hashtag #ShowMeTheReceipts had millions of views. "There's more," Alex said. "3 different production companies have reached out about turning your story into a documentary, and someone wants to write a book." I laughed. "A book about what? How I got dumped and went viral?" "About how you fought back. About how you didn't let her destroy you." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Don't answer," Alex warned. But something made me pick up. "Darren?" The voice was shaky, scared. "This is Marcus. Marcus Webb." I put the phone on speaker and gestured to Alex. "Marcus, what can I do for you?" I need to meet with you. Tonight. There are things about Raya you don't know. Things that could help your case." "Such as?" "Not over the phone. Meet me at Sullivan's Bar on Tremont Street, 1 hour." He hung up. "That's obviously a trap," Alex said. "Probably. But I'm curious what kind of trap." Sullivan's was a dive bar in the theater district, the kind of place where nobody cared about your problems and the beer was cheap. Marcus was already there when I arrived, hunched over a whiskey in a corner booth. He looked terrible, unshaven, hollow-eyed, like he hadn't slept in days. I sat across from him. "You look like hell." "Raya's been calling me nonstop for 3 days. She wants me to say you threatened me, that you're dangerous. She's completely lost it, Darren. And I can't do it anymore. I can't be part of this." He pulled out his phone and showed me a text thread with Raya from that morning. "Raya, just stick to the story. Say he threatened to eliminate us both." Marcus, "I don't think this is a good idea." Raya, "Do you want to be with me or not?" Marcus, "Not if it means lying to the police." Raya, "Then you're useless to me, just like Darren was." "She's planning to file a police report tomorrow," Marcus said. "False accusations. She's going to say you've been stalking her, threatening her, that you broke into her apartment." "Do you have proof she's lying?" He nodded and pulled out a flash drive. "Everything. Photos, videos, text messages going back months. I documented our relationship because, honestly, I was starting to think she might try to blackmail me." I took the drive. "Why are you helping me?" Marcus looked up from his drink. "Because I've seen what she does to people. And because my little sister read your blog post and asked me if I was dating someone like Raya, I couldn't lie to her." The flash drive contained a gold mine. Videos of Raya bragging about manipulating me. Photos of her with other men while we were dating. Text messages where she detailed her plans to destroy Darren's pathetic life after she was done using me. But the most damaging evidence was a recorded phone call between Raya and someone I didn't recognize. "The key is to make him think it's his idea," Raya's voice said. "Let him pay for things, but make him feel like he's being generous, not used. Then, when you're ready to upgrade, you destroy his reputation so he can't warn the next guy." "How many times have you done this?" "Darren's number 4. The trick is to pick guys who are just successful enough to have money, but insecure enough to be grateful for attention." I sat in my car outside Sullivan's for 20 minutes, listening to the recording over and over. 4 guys. I was the 4th man she'd done this to, but I was going to be the last. The next morning, I didn't wait for Raya to file her false police report. I filed first. Criminal harassment, fraud, extortion, identity theft. She'd been using my credit cards without permission for months. I had evidence for everything. By noon, there was a warrant out for Raya's arrest. By evening, she was in custody. And by the time she made bail the next morning, I'd already won the war. The arraignment was a circus. Raya showed up in a conservative black dress, her hair pulled back, trying to look like a victim. But the damage was already done. The local news had picked up the story, and the courthouse steps were packed with reporters and internet personalities who'd been following Receiptgate from the beginning. I sat in the gallery with Jennifer Chen, watching as the prosecutor laid out the charges: criminal harassment, filing false reports, identity theft, fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. But the real show started when Raya's lawyer, some overpriced downtown attorney her parents had hired, tried to paint her as the real victim. "Your Honor, my client has been subjected to a vicious online harassment campaign. Mr. Mitchell has weaponized social media to destroy her reputation and livelihood." The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Lisa Santos, wasn't having it. "Your Honor, the defendant has a documented history of financial and emotional manipulation. She has defrauded multiple victims, filed false police reports, and attempted to extort money from Mr. Mitchell. This isn't harassment, it's accountability." The judge set bail at $50,000. Raya's parents paid it, but I could see the strain on their faces. This was bankrupting them. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. "Mr. Mitchell, how do you feel about the charges being filed?" "Relieved," I said. "I hope this prevents her from doing to anyone else what she did to me." "Do you have any message for other victims of financial abuse?" I looked directly into the camera. "Document everything, keep records, and don't let anyone make you feel crazy for standing up for yourself." That clip went viral within hours, but the real victory came 3 days later when Marcus called me with news. She took a plea deal. "What kind of deal?" "Guilty to harassment and fraud. 2 years probation, restitution to you and her other victims, mandatory counseling, and a restraining order that keeps her away from all of us." "Other victims?" 3 more guys came forward after the arrest. Turns out she's been running this scam for years. The restitution hearing was scheduled for the following week. I'd be getting back every penny she'd stolen from me, plus damages. More importantly, her guilty plea meant I could proceed with the civil suit without worrying about criminal charges. But Raya had one last card to play. The night before the restitution hearing, she violated the restraining order. I was walking home from the grocery store when she stepped out of an alley blocking my path. She looked different, thinner, desperate, with the kind of manic energy that comes from losing everything. "You destroyed my life," she said. "You destroyed your own life. I just documented it." "I loved you." I almost laughed. "You loved my wallet." "That's not true. In the beginning you were running a con. Just like with Marcus, just like with the 3 guys before me. I've seen the playbook, Raya. I know exactly how you operate." She stepped closer. "We can fix this. I'll pay you back. I'll do whatever you want. Just make it stop." "It's already stopped. You pled guilty. It's over. Please." She was crying now, real tears for maybe the first time since I'd known her. "I have nothing left. No money, no friends, no career. My parents won't even talk to me." For a moment, just a moment, I felt sorry for her. This broken woman in front of me bore no resemblance to the confident manipulator who'd humiliated me at her birthday party. But then, I remembered the recordings, the way she'd laughed about manipulating me, the other men she'd destroyed, the false accusations she'd been planning to make. "You should have thought about that before you decided to destroy me," I said. "Now get out of my way before I call the police." She didn't move. "You think you've won? You think this makes you better than me?" "I think this makes us even." "Even?" She laughed, a bitter sound. "You turned me into a cautionary tale. You made me famous for all the wrong reasons. Do you know what people call me now? The receipt girl. That's my legacy." "That's the legacy you earned." She slapped me again, just like she had in my office. But this time, I was ready. I grabbed her wrist before she could pull back. "That's assault," I said calmly, "and a violation of your restraining order, and it's being recorded by the security camera right behind you." She looked over her shoulder, saw the camera, and her face crumpled. "I hate you," she whispered. "I know, but I don't care anymore." I called the police from my apartment. They arrested her an hour later for violating the restraining order. Her probation was revoked, and she spent the next 6 months in county jail. The restitution hearing went smoothly without her there to cause drama. The judge ordered her to pay me $47,000, every penny she'd stolen plus damages and legal fees. But the real satisfaction came from the impact beyond my case. The documentary about financial abuse in relationships, featuring my story, won an Emmy. The book deal led to a bestseller that helped thousands of people recognize the warning signs of manipulation. Most importantly, the hotline for financial abuse victims that was created in response to the case helped over 10,000 people in its first year. 6 months after Raya's arrest, I was a different person. Not just because of the money I'd recovered or the fame from the case, but because I'd learned something important about myself. I was stronger than I'd ever imagined. The call came on a Tuesday morning in March, exactly 6 months after the birthday party that started everything. "Mr. Mitchell, this is Officer Janet Rodriguez with Boston PD. Raya Summers was released from county jail this morning. Given the history of harassment, we wanted to give you a heads up." I thanked her and hung up, then immediately called Jennifer Chen. "She's out?" "Good behavior. But she's still on probation, and the restraining order is still active. If she comes within 500 feet of you, she goes back to jail." I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. That evening, Alex called me in a panic. "Dude, you need to see this. Raya's back on social media." She'd created new accounts on every platform: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and she was telling a very different version of our story. The new narrative painted her as a victim of revenge porn and financial abuse. According to her posts, I was a controlling boyfriend who'd monitored her every move, isolated her from friends, and then launched a coordinated harassment campaign when she tried to leave me. The posts were getting traction. Justice for Raya was trending. People who hadn't followed the original story were buying her victim narrative. "She's smart," Jennifer said when I showed her the posts. "She's not mentioning you by name, so it's not technically a violation of the restraining order. And she's framing everything as her speaking out about abuse. So there's nothing we can do? Legally? Not unless she crosses a line." She crossed the line 3 days later. I was leaving work when I spotted her across the street, filming me with her phone. She was far enough away that she wasn't violating the restraining order, but close enough to make her point. I ignored her and walked to my car. But when I got home, I found out why she'd been filming. Her latest TikTok video showed me walking to my car with text overlay that read, "When your abuser gets away with destroying your life, but you're not allowed to tell your story." The video had 50,000 views in 2 hours. But Raya had made a crucial mistake. In her eagerness to play victim, she'd forgotten about the evidence. I spent that evening creating a response video. Not emotional, not angry, just factual. I played clips from the recorded conversations where she bragged about manipulating me. I showed screenshots of her texts, planning to make false accusations. I displayed court documents from her guilty plea. The response was swift and brutal. Raya Lied began trending within hours. Her new followers disappeared as fast as they'd appeared, but she wasn't done. The next morning, I woke up to find my car vandalized. The word abuser was keyed into the paint. My tires were slashed. The security camera footage clearly showed Raya doing the damage at 3 a.m. I called the police. She was arrested again within hours. This time, there was no bail. Her probation was revoked permanently, and she was sentenced to 2 years in state prison. But even from jail, she managed one final attempt at revenge. A week after her sentencing, I received a package at my office. No return address, but I recognized Raya's handwriting. Inside was a flash drive and a note. "You think you know everything about me? You have no idea what I'm capable of. Enjoy the show. The flash drive contained videos, dozens of them. Hidden camera footage from my apartment, recorded during the months we dated, intimate moments, private conversations, footage of me sleeping. She'd been recording me the entire time we were together. At the bottom of the drive was a file labeled Insurance. It contained edited versions of the videos, cut to make it look like I was the one doing the recording, like I was the one violating privacy. The note with this file was chilling. If anything happens to me in prison, these get released automatically. Everyone will know what you really are. I stared at the screen, finally understanding the full scope of what I'd been dealing with. Raya wasn't just a gold digger or a manipulator. She was a predator who'd been documenting potential victims for years. But she'd made one final mistake. The metadata on the videos showed they'd been recorded from her phone, not mine. The timestamps proved she'd been planning this insurance policy from the very beginning of our relationship. And the automatic release system she'd set up? It was traceable. I turned everything over to the FBI. The investigation revealed that Raya had been running variations of this scam for over a decade. The videos on the flash drive were just the tip of the iceberg. She had recordings of dozens of men, collected over years of relationships. Some were being used for blackmail, others were being sold online. The federal charges added another 15 years to her sentence. 6 months later, I was sitting in a coffee shop in downtown Boston, reading the newspaper coverage of her final sentencing, when someone sat down across from me. It was Zoe. "Hey," she said quietly. "Hey, yourself. How are you doing?" "Better. Therapy helps. I wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For showing me that you don't have to let people destroy you, that you can fight back." She told me she'd gone back to school, was studying social work, wanted to help other people recognize the signs of manipulation and abuse. "What about you?" she asked. "What's next?" I looked out the window at the busy street, at people hurrying past with their own problems and dreams and complicated lives. "I'm thinking about teaching," I said. "Maybe writing a book about financial literacy. Help people protect themselves." "That's perfect." We talked for another hour about healing, about moving forward, about the strange way trauma can sometimes make you stronger if you let it. After she left, I walked home through the city I'd lived in my whole life, but which felt different now. I felt different. Not bitter, not angry, just free. My phone buzzed with a text from Alex. "Drinks tonight? Sarah from your old office wants to meet up. She's been asking about you." I smiled and typed back, "Sure, but I'm buying my own drinks. Some lessons once learned stick with you forever." I got home to find one last piece of mail, a check from the restitution account. The final payment from Raya's seized assets, $47,000, exactly as ordered by the court. I deposited the check, then sat down at my computer and made a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Not the full amount, I wasn't that generous, but enough to help other people who might find themselves where I'd been. Then I opened a new document and started typing. Chapter 1: How to Spot a Financial Predator. The story wasn't over. It was just beginning. But this time, I was writing the ending.